Alright, what up, y'all? It's Metaphor, back for more to kick the ball, represent everyone's You&I.VERSE. We're going to do a video on Leo rising, but with Gemini in the 11th house. So Gemini in the 11th house is being able to be mutable air, being able to adapt to other people's logicality and practicality and ways of thinking, right? So I want to do this in a little different environment, associate with something new. I'm Leo rising, right? Fixed fire. Being able to be consistent or stubborn in your own way of seeing visions and initiating, not initiating, but creating, right? It's like you create these visions. And once you create a vision, boom, you stuck on it. This is your vision, boom, you're going to execute that. So it's like the 11th house being Gemini, you're going to be able to communicate with others, and, it's like communicated and thinking, right? So communicating and thinking in a mutable way. I'm able to adapt, you see what I'm saying? People be making loud noises, I can just stop talking and, just get right back to it. But yeah, so, I kind of want to have a nice little background, got the little trees and all that. Shouts out to the park. But yeah, I'm kind of mutable air right now, associate with y'all. So, my association, I'm putting myself on the cross kind of thing. I got a Leo rising, right? So my 11th house would be Gemini. Being able to adapt to other people's ways of communicating and logic and practicality, right? Excuse me. So, with this being said, you're able to communicate with other different groups of individuals. It's a real good alignment because you got the air in the air house, right? It's like you kind of got it set up correctly, if that makes sense. Like, how Aries is you may not know, but Aries is a fire sign, right? And the Aries was birthed from the first house, and the first house is fire, right? So then that 5th house would be fire, and the 9th house would be fire, right? So you have Leo in the first house, then you'd have motherfucking Sagittarius in the 5th, and then Aries in the 9th. So same way you have Gemini in the 11th, you then have Aquarius in the 7th, and then you'd have Libra in the 3rd. So your air and your communication is pretty well. Pretty good. You're pretty good at communicating. Due to your other alignments, it may be a little bit, difficult for you, or it may not be. It's like, who knows? You could have a Leo rising and have the rest of your chart water. You're real based in your emotion. If you can't emotionally connect to something, then boom, that Leo ain't gonna really burn too much. It's kind of gonna get drowned out by the water. So you kind of got to look at your other alignments and where they're placed within your houses. But it's like this, right? So you got that Leo rising, and say you had like a Gemini Mercury in the 11th house. My fault. Gemini Mars in the 11th house. Because the only way you can have, well, actually that's possible. Yeah, I'm thinking if you got Leo Sun, because Mercury only one sign behind in the same sign or one sign in front. Okay, so we could go back to that. Say you got Leo rising, and you got Mercury and Gemini in the 11th house. Mercury and Gemini, boom, great alignment. It's at home here. So you got Gemini and Mercury. So the way you think and practicalize is in a mutable air way. You're able to adapt to the circumstance, right? Able to adapt to different people's ways of thinking. You're able to see how other people even created that logicality and got to that conclusion. But it being in your 11th house, you're able to find how other people got to these conclusions and associate with these groups. So it's like you're able to associate with different cultures, kind of thing. This is why Leo, no matter where they go, they're able to shine. You see what I'm saying? They rule by the sun. So it's like when you rule by the sun, and you got your 11th house, your association in Gemini, you're able to adapt to any circumstance you get in. So it's like whenever you go into a real dark place and things of that nature, you know not to say too much. You know where, like, say you in the interrogation room, you know not to say shit. Leo, no. Maybe even make a motherfucking joke, like, okay, we gonna act like half the world don't do the fuck we talking about right now. You see what I'm saying? Or we gonna act like this for this or this for that. I don't even know what you're talking about. I don't even do none of that. I don't know how it happened. You see what I mean? You're gonna be kind of quiet. That's the only things you might say. I don't know. You're able to adapt to that. So it's like, okay, I think half the rest of the world smoke trees. So it's like, okay, you got me in here with a bunch of trees. I smoke trees. That's it. You see what I'm saying? It's like, it's nothing more, nothing less. Got to be able to think about these things. But yeah. So you got, in a very happy light, say you with the family, meeting family friends, and they meeting friends of your family you never met before. boom, you're going to shine. You're going to be able to adapt to that communication. You're going to see where this practicality came about. Homeboy was kind of moving. I could tell he was about to overpower my voice, so I just, decided to keep it mutable. But yeah, these are perfect examples of what I'm talking about. So, back to the point of, like I'm saying, having that Mercury in the 11th house with Gemini, you're going to be able to adapt to that circumstance. You'll be able to think and communicate with these individuals in a very clean-cut manner. You could go, how far to go, and how close to stay as well. So that's like that mutability is what I'm trying to explain. And it being in that association, sometimes people see you as like, dang, like, I didn't know you knew so many people. It's like, it's interesting. You could think about the square, because you got Gemini in the 11th, but you also got Pisces in the 8th. So now all the water is concealed. It's in the right spot. So it's like you got Pisces in the 8th house squaring that 11th house. So it's like, you don't really share all the emotions with people that aren't, on the same in-depth length as, as yourself. It's like, if we haven't got there already, okay, it's nothing, but if we have got there, we don't keep that in the 8th house. You see what I'm saying? It's like Pisces being exalted in Venus, and also Pisces being ruled by Jupiter. It's like they have to have a meaning and reasoning. These Pisces have to have a meaning and reasoning behind what they're doing. So it's like, in that 8th house, they have to have a meaning and reasoning to bring out that deep and dark depth nature. If you don't know me like that, you just don't know me like that, and that's just how it is. No love lost kind of thing. That's the 8th house. Period. It's like, it's that sacred nature. It's like the transformation, rebirth. This isn't an 8th house video. I'm just explaining the squares and how how it could play out in your chart. But yeah, much love to y'all. Holla back at me at conscious1347@gmail.com. Again, that's CONSCIOUS1347@gmail.com. Much love. Holla back. And this is the Leo rising video with Gemini in the 11th house. Humanitarian Association. If I could only speak, my bad.